Heavenly Father, we ask you to bless us tonight. We thank you for such a great day. Lord, please let us learn about you. Let us be able to apply it to everything that we do. Please watch over us. Keep us safe, healthy, and well. And we love you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, short and sweet. Amen. Okay, okay, so is everybody ready for Enoch? It's good. It gets wild, and it's very it's a lot. But I tried to keep things short because this is one that you can like take it down all the rabbit holes. But I do want to say, even though we're reading outside of the canon Bible, like this doesn't supersede the Bible in any way. The Book of Enoch was removed. It was part of the Apocrypha. It was taken out. It is part of the Apocrypha, but the Bible used to have the Apocrypha in it. Um, there's a lot of debate, I guess, on oh she did she's starting she's coming. Okay. There's a lot of debate on whether, it's to be looked at the same as scripture, whether it's not. But like back when I had joined my own, started my own journey, I had prayed and I was asking for the truth, asking to be led to the rest of the stuff that I wasn't finding in the Bible. And so I was led to Enoch. And okay, so Enoch's father was Jared. We went through this in Genesis. Um, Enoch was the seventh descendant of Adam and Eve. He was also the great great grandfather of Noah. In Genesis 5:22 and 24, we read about Enoch. There's just a tiny portion, and it just says, when Enoch had lived 65 years, he fathered Methuselah. Enoch walked with God after he fathered Methuselah. Enoch, wait, 300 years, and had other sons and daughters. Thus, all the days of Enoch were 365 years. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. So, Enoch did not experience death like the others before and after him. Like he didn't die. God took him up with him, and so he got to escape death. But before we actually start reading, just some information that I thought was interesting about the Book of Enoch. They had found Aramaic fragments in Qumran, which is northwest of the Dead Sea in Israel and south of Jericho. If you've ever, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Um, this is where the scrolls were found. So they found it in like these caves, and then they've done a lot of research to translate. No, to translate, and so some of the manuscripts were found in Hebrew, some in Aramaic, and some in Greek. So I just thought I would preface before we get started, and um, we're gonna go into chapters 1 through 7 this week. I wanted to get into 8, but there was already kind of a lot, so I didn't want to. I don't want to overwhelm with too much information, and I figured this study might bring some different conversation and stuff. So if everybody is ready, we should get started. Let's do it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So I know everybody. I really should have looked for the PDF of Enoch, and I didn't. So that is my bad. So everybody's just gonna have to sit and listen to me read. But we'll do it the same. So we'll go through one chapter and then we'll go through the notes and then move on from there. The blessing of Enoch, with which he blessed the elect and the righteous, who would be present on the day of tribulation at the time of the removal of all the ungodly ones. And Enoch, the blessed and righteous man of the Lord, took up his parable. while his eyes were open, and he saw, and said, This is a holy vision from the heavens, which the angel showed me. And I heard from them everything, and I understood. I look not for this generation, but for the distant one that is coming. I speak about the elect ones, and concerning them. And I took up with a parable, saying, Let me write, the God of the universe, the Holy Great One, will come forth from his dwelling. And from there he will march upon Mount Sinai and appear in his camp, emerging from heaven with a mighty power. And everyone shall be afraid, the watchers shall quiver, and great fear and trembling shall seize them unto the ends of the earth. Mountains and high places will fall down and be frightened, and high hills shall be made low, and they shall melt like a honeycomb before the flame, and earth shall be rent asunder, and all that is upon the earth shall perish. There shall be judgment upon all, including the righteous, and to all the righteous he will grant peace. He will preserve the elect, and kindness shall be upon them. They shall all belong to God, and they shall prosper and be blessed, and the light of God shall shine upon them. Behold, he will arrive with 10 million of the holy ones in order to execute judgment upon all. He will destroy the wicked ones and censure all flesh on account of everything that they have done, that which the sinners and the wicked ones committed against him. So, oh, thank you, Sarita, moving the book. Okay, so Enoch here is writing for the end times generation, so the people to come. It wasn't meant for the people in his time. So he's writing down what he's seeing and hearing in his visions. And God chose him due to his righteousness and close relationship with God. In Micah 1, 3, and 4, we can see the same, one of these same things being said. For behold, the Lord cometh forth out of his place, and will come down and tread upon the high places of the earth. The mountains shall be molten under him, and the valleys shall be cleft as wax before the fire, and as the waters that are poured down a steep place. So Enoch sees God coming out of his dwelling place in heaven, and he's going to come down. Oh, and this isn't like, some people are like, oh, well, am I going to miss it? Am I going to, am I going to not be awake for it? But this isn't a hidden or isolated site. Like when Jesus returns, everybody's going to witness it. So, and we can see this in Revelation 6:14. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it's rolled together. Every mountain and island were moved out of their places. So it's not going to be, just a little like, hey, I've arrived. It's the entire earth is going to recognize that Jesus is coming, and it's going to be a crazy sight. Like I can't even imagine. But it says that the sky is going to roll back like a scroll. Um, to be rent asunder means to be torn apart violently by force. So when he says that the earth will be rent asunder, that just gives you a depiction of to me, it's almost like a violent earthquake. Like if it's just going to be pulled apart, it's like taking two hands and just breaking it in half. But that's just my own little take. Judgment is going to take place for everybody. So not just for the sinners, but even the righteous. There's not one person that's going to escape judgment. There's not one person that's going to not be judged. The difference is those that God has deemed as righteous will be given peace and will be protected and preserved, and blessings will come to them. Those deemed unrighteous will be handed a different judgment and will be thrown into the fire. When the text says he will arrive, that's a definitive and not a possibility. So he's going to return just as he promised. He will arrive with 10 million of the holy ones to execute judgment upon everyone. The another translation of Enoch that I have, it says a myriad, which is the same, but it's more it says an innumerable amount. So you can't count them. And this is another definitive in the word all. This isn't some or select few, but all, meaning everyone. Matthew 16:27 says, "For the Son of Man is going to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay each person according to what he has done." Revelation 19:11 through 14 says, "Then I saw heaven opened, and behold, the white horse. The one sitting on it is called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he judges and makes war. His eyes are like a flame of fire, and on his head are many diadems, and he has a name written that no one knows but himself. He is clothed in a robe dipped in blood, and the name by which he is called is the Word of God. And the armies of heaven, arrayed in fine linen, white and pure, were following him on white horses." So he's got his army already preparing their way when he comes. So it's not going to be something that is, unmistakable. That was chapter 1. Does anybody have any questions, anything to add?
Not yet. Not for me, at least.
Okay. Nope, I'm good. Okay. So chapter 2. Examine all the activities which take place in the sky, and how they do not alter their ways. Examine the luminaries of heaven, how each one of them rises and sets. Each one is systematic according to its respective season, and they do not divert from their appointed order. And look at the earth and turn in your mind concerning the action which is taking place in her, from the beginning to the end, how all the work of God as being manifested does not change. And behold the summer and the winter, how the whole earth is filled with water, and clouds and dew, and he causes rain to rest upon her. So chapter 2 is giving us the instructions to be watchful, to pay attention to the order of God's creation and how he has set things in the sky. The sun, the moon, the stars, all of them obey God. They were all created by God and they obey God. They reflect God's power, wisdom, and intentionality in creation. We know and have the expectation that the sun is going to rise and set to give us the day. The moon is going to shine its light at night, and the stars will appear in their places at night as well. And we can typically tell the seasons by the length of day versus night. And the skies and the luminaries are also to be used as signs to mark sacred times, days, and years. So in Genesis 1:14 through 18, it says, "And God said, let there be lights in the expanse of the sky of the heavens to separate the day from the night. Let them be for signs and for seasons, and for days and years, and let them be lights in the expanse of the heavens to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. God set them in the expanse on the heavens to give light on the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. So even from the beginning to now, God does not change. He remains the same all the way through, and his natural order does the same. In Psalm 104:19, he made the moon to mark the seasons. The sun knows its time for setting. Although man may try to disprove God or change his order, God is ultimately in control. And we see a lot of that. I mean, I don't know how closely people watch the different things or, how involved in like the different conspiracy theories and things that are out there, but there's a lot of talk about, trying to break the firmament and trying to control the weather and manipulate the weather and do all these things. But here in Psalm it says like they're gonna try it, but it's not gonna happen. Like they can try all they want to, but they're under God's control, they're under God's command. So and even the creation as far as the earth and things like that will be judged as well. Any questions, comments, concerns on chapter 2?
No, that would be short.
Yeah, a lot of the chapters are are really are really short. Like some of them are long, but yeah, a few of the chapters they only have a couple sentences in them.
Those my type of chapters.
Yeah, and they're very straightforward. So it's not like it's a bunch of crazy stuff. It's literally like, look, just look at this. This is like the way I read it is like this is like Enoch's journal to everybody. Like he's the scribe, so he's writing in his journal, and we just get to read all of his journal entries.
Yeah.
Okay, so chapter 3. Okay, examine and observe everything, and the trees, how all their leaves appeared, as if they wither and had fallen, except 14 trees whose leaves do not fall, but the old foliage remains for about 2 or 3 years until the new leaves come. End of chapter. Okay. Goodness. I know. That paragraph is a whole chapter. Yeah, that's it. It's one. Actually, it's a run-on sentence. It's one sentence. He just uses a lot of commas. It's one sentence, and he's just like, all right, this is it. So here, now, huh? Okay, that's enough. Sorry. I thought I had it muted. It's okay. Um, okay, so with the first, or one chapter 2, he's telling us to pay attention to the seasons, the sky. Here he's telling us to pay attention to the trees, like, and to look at everything. So we see the seasons. We know when autumn's coming because obviously the leaves begin to change color. They fall off the trees. I mean, not so much here where we're at, because the cactus doesn't change. It's, that stays the same. But where Mandy's at, she gets to experience the colors of fall and rake the leaves and all of that stuff.
Wow.
But we do get to see when spring comes because that's when the plants are, coming back to life. That's when the like all the little birds and everything is coming. All the new life is sprouting, right? So we can yes, definitely allergy season. We can see though, and it gets cooler, it gets hotter, so we know generally when the seasons are changing or when they're supposed to. Now, there's mention of 14 trees where the leaves don't fall. I I was trying to study that, and I could do a whole study on all 14 trees. I'm not going to do that. I included a link if anybody wants to look at the different trees, but the evergreen trees, these types of trees do not actually lose their leaves. They're long lasting, they're resistant to damage, they can withstand both the heat and the cold. Wow, I can't say for sure that's what 14 trees he's talking about, but those 14, that the evergreen tree family fit the description. Where are the evergreens at? Where do you see those at? You can actually see them everywhere. They they started or they originated like over in the Middle East. They're there, but we have evergreens here. Okay. Because it's like the um, it's like let's see. I clicked on the link just to we're not gonna go into the stuff, but just so you can kind of get an idea. There's maybe this one that has all the names of them. But
Yeah, the first one has all the different trees. The second one, I'm looking at
okay, I clicked on the first. I clicked on the second one. So the second one is telling you the types of like the difference in the trees between the evergreens or the deciduous trees, and what like how to tell the difference. But bless you. But examples of the evergreens: the holly tree, the pine tree, the spruce, the fir, the cedar, the cypress. magnolia, live oak, redwood, Japanese cedar, American arborvitae, Arizona cypress, and the southern live oak. Okay. And it'll tell you, like, if you click on the link, it'll tell you like where they can be found, what their shape is, um, and those kind of things. So I put that there just in case anybody wants to do their own little research, and the notes are in the um on the Discord channel too. Awesome. Thank you. So the difference and or wood are mentioned in the Bible as well, and a lot of times we'll see trees used as a symbol to teach different spiritual truths. It can be talking about people or a nation and providing lessons. So um, we already talked a lot in like the previous studies about the cypress tree and what that does and why it was so important in building the tabernacle and things. So as we go, we'll get to talk about more more trees and what they mean. Okay, that was chapter 3. Chapter 4 is another short one. And again, examine the days of the summer, how the heat of the sun is upon the earth and dominates her. And as for you, you will crave shade and shelter on account of the heat of the sun, and the earth shall burn with scorching heat, and you are not able to walk on the earth or on the rock on account of the heat. Now, this chapter here had me laughing a little bit because I was like, oh, we're in Arizona. We are very familiar with the days of summer here because we feel the heat of the sun for months. Like this chapter here must have been meant for us. But
I think it was perfect timing when Bobby posted that thing about the temperature. I was like, oh my goodness.
oh my,
126.
you know what's crazy? The next day, I literally saw the news talking about Lake Havasu and how it hit a record of 125.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other day,
Oh,
Haley sent me a news video, and like Tucson had a tornado the other day.
Wow.
are you serious?
Yeah.
So literally, like the last 2 days, today's the first day, but we've been having flash floods. That's how my brother-in-law got into a car accident. It's been down,
Wow.
like it's been flooding. The kids did not have school yesterday because everything's flooded over here.
Wow.
Oh wow. Is
And
that
it rains all
normal?
the time. No, we have rain pour and it rains for like 15, 20 minutes, but this was like downpour for hours and hours and hours. They called security to stop Keegan because he was going to try to walk home. They made Larongo pick him up because
Oh wow.
like the whole state had a flash flood warning until like 9 o'clock last night.
That's so crazy. I just saw something
Yeah.
today that was talking about being careful in Virginia for Legionnaire's disease because that's like widespreading out there too.
What is that? I've never heard of that.
I have no. I've heard of it. I've never looked into it just because I don't want to. I don't want to go into too much. But yeah, it was saying that like people are getting sick and it's spreading and there's too much out there. Too much going on.
Crazy.
Just be careful. That's all.
No, and like that makes sense. Well, I don't know what that is, but like yesterday, Nez got super, super, super sick, like all over Laron's truck. It smells terrible in there.
Oh
Like
no.
Neza, yeah, Neza, we were driving to do something, and Nez was like sleeping when we woke him up, and we're like, "You want to go?" He was like, "Yeah, I want to go." And then we're driving in the truck, and then all of a sudden he just starts crying, and then bam, he just started getting sick, and like for like the rest of the day, he was sick, 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 sick
That's
to his
terrible.
stomach. And he don't get sick like that. So I was like, well, maybe it's because it's first week in kindergarten, whatever, all the kids have germs, whatever. But if there's something crazy going on, that's all bad.
Yeah, just be careful. I googled it and it says Legionnaire's disease is a serious type of pneumonia caused by Legionella bacteria, typically contracted by breathing in mist from contaminated water sources. Symptoms are high fever, muscle aches, and shortness of breath.
Oh, okay. So it's not related to what Nez had going on yesterday,
Yeah,
but I can
that's
see that because here's the deal is like lately, so I know I'm throwing us off. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. But there's been like times where they tell us not to go fishing because the water's contaminated. And so we don't, like, we're on fishes. So it's been like probably several weeks throughout the summer already that they have prohibited fishing and people being out on the water because there's something they're saying the water's contaminated.
Oh wow. Yeah, you don't want to
And
catch
like
those fish either.
no, and we're surrounded by water. Like we live by the James River and the Elizabeth River and the Hampton. Like, oh yeah, we're surrounded by the water. So that's crazy work.
Yeah, definitely be careful. And did you guys get any of the smoke from like the Canada fires?
We did. I was like, because I didn't think we were close enough to Canada for that to even be a thing. But they were warning us. Some friends from New York were warning us, hey, this is coming your way. Like we couldn't have the windows open or anything because it was so thick in the air and you could smell it. It smelled like campfire. It reminded me of when Alaska was on fire. And the fire was 5 hours away from us, but it was the same thing, and it made the air so hot and so thick. And air conditioning does not exist in Alaska, and so people were hanging out in the malls and going to the grocery stores just because they couldn't have their windows open because there was so much smoke. And it was the same thing here with the Canada fires. I didn't even think we were close enough to Canada for that to even be an issue, but it was. It was absolutely yes for like 3 days.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, you gotta think about like if there was any ash or bacteria or
Oh yeah.
anything that came from that, like all of that
I'm
stuff
wondering
spreads.
that, yeah, that probably is where that stuff is coming from.
Yeah, because I know here we had like last week, no, this week we had like dust storms, and one of the news channels was putting out a warning to stay inside because it was spores dust, so it was bringing in like
Um,
bacteria and things like that too, and so it was saying like for everybody to stay inside, but extra precautions for the kids and the elderly and those with
elderly.
respiratory issues.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
'cause
it's just one thing after another.
it really is, and it's like okay, so if the earth is already getting hot, right? Then like if Enoch's talking about future times,
This is
and
this time.
I mean we're already going there because it gets hotter in the summers, and like all the weather is crazy everywhere, and so it's like the seasons are they're clear as far as what they're supposed to be, but the weather within the seasons is different and that's changing. And the sun feels hotter and there's just so much going on. So it's like all of this stuff is speaking to the future generation, which at this point is us.
It's now. Yeah. And I'll tell you too, is they were saying out here that this last winter that we had, they said, "Oh my gosh, it's never snowed this much." They're like, "It never snows in Hopewell and Colonial Heights." The kids were out of school for almost all of December and January because there was so much snow and ice that you couldn't drive. It was dangerous. And they said it was still snowing in like April and because I'll never forget, I'm out in the yard blowing the leaves, getting them all together, because the snow had finally melted and I could get to my yard. And then I'm not kidding. The very next day, they said it's going to snow. And I was like, no way. It was like 80 degrees yesterday. And like 20 minutes later, it just started pouring down snow. I said, you got to be kidding me. It was 80 degrees the day before, and then it was snowing, actually snowing, and it was sticking. I said, this is like Alaska all over again. And they say that when you have real winters, that your summers are hot. You're guaranteed to have a scorcher. And on the 4th of July, here, it was record breaking. It was over 105 degrees here, and the humidity was at like 80%. So you literally felt like, ugh. Just
Oh,
ugh.
yeah, no, it's
Yeah, I
not.
said I said we cannot have Arizona temperatures and Florida humidity. This is just not fair.
Yeah, no, that all of that sounds terrible. Like I can't deal with humidity anyway, but that's too
No.
much. That's too much. But
Yeah.
that's how it is. And like even here, where he says like you're gonna crave shade and shelter. Like we
Yes.
do. We do because we're not nobody's trying to stand out in the sun. Nobody's trying to stand out in the sun. And it's extremely dangerous. There are so many people that are like dying or having heat stroke and being hospitalized and things because they're out in the sun and it doesn't even take like it doesn't take long for that. And so most times like we run up our AC, right? Because we're trying to stay inside. We look for shade. We try to park under shade because it's cooler. It's still hot, but it's not as hot to where it's unbearable. And then it says the earth shall burn with scorching heat. So when I looked up scorching, obviously I know what it is, but I was like, let me see what the dictionary says. And it says very hot, parching or shriveling with heat to change its color and texture. So when the sun's out, obviously like the plants die, skin burns, things melt, and people die. Like we pray for the cooler weather. Like we can't wait for the summer to be over. Now some crazy people like to move here in the summer and be out in the heat. I don't understand, but that is not me.
That's crazy work.
Yeah, and when like I was looking it up, like what kind of things happen when it's hot? Because obviously like everybody's like, oh, it's hot, everybody's angry. And it's true. Like when you get hot, you get so irritable, you get so angry and you can't focus.
Hard.
There's more illness, there's more crime. Like everything happens and it's hot and people are just already tired. But not only that, you see like the agricultural, like the food supply decreases, water supplies decrease, more stress is put on the livestock. They end up getting sick, dying. Their production, like their like dairy and all of that, like it just it shrivels up, and so it's crazy to think about like where we were to where we are now and how it's going to be as we go into the future.
That's crazy work.
I know. Just lost 2 chickens. I mean, yeah,
To the heat.
just no.
You lost two chickens?
Yeah, we lost 2 chickens.
Wow.
No way. Yeah, we had like 3 days of extreme heat warning, and like one of the days reached 117, and the two big chickens died, and they were like stuck. It was terrible.
That is so terrible. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, we still have all the small ones, but yeah, the big ones. It was so sad. Mom was like, "Oh, I think the chickens are dead. One or at least one, but I think both." And I went out there and checked, and sure enough, they were done. I'm like, dang, I wonder if the sun just fried them. Like we had some fried chicken, and like, oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, some for real fried chicken.
Yes. I was like, dang, that sucks. No,
I
I wouldn't.
wouldn't. I wouldn't. I would not do that. No, ma'am.
Isn't that what they're
They,
for
Oh,
though?
that makes
yeah, but not if I don't know how long they had been, and it's crazy because in the morning they were out there running around. Like when I looked out my window, they were out there running around, and then it wasn't even like full afternoon, and yeah, they were dead.
What's the temperature out there right now, sister?
Um, let me see. Right now,
Yeah.
it says 97, and you know what gets me is when they're like, oh yeah, and it's 8 o'clock at night. But
That's crazy.
I hate it when they're like, oh, it's 97, but the real feel is 112. Like, no, they just say it's 112.
Yeah,
Like, if it feels like 112, it's 112.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like,
They're
don't
just
make
trying
me
to
try
get
to
you to
feel
feel low.
better. Yeah, like, don't do that. But
Yeah.
like, even like with all the things, so just for a little funsies, because I've heard about a lot of things. I look into a lot of weird things, and um, but as I was reading this, I had thought about a couple of the things that I've seen, and so I put the links there. But and I need to add one more. I sent it to Denisha the other day, but like they have plans to block the sun. And it's like, okay, like if you really work or whatever, like with all your stupid tactics and things. But there's a couple links there, like articles on what they're trying to do as far as like putting an umbrella or like making these umbrellas that go in space to block out the sun and what they're trying to do to help with like climate change and global warming and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, these are the same people that keep running their rockets into the firmament trying to break it, and then they get mad because they can't get through. Like God created the firmament.
Yeah,
Huh?
stop messing with God's work.
Yeah,
Here's what's gonna happen. They're gonna put up an umbrella and the sun's gonna melt it. Like, come on now.
right. And then they're
Not even
like,
real.
yeah, and it's so they had that, and then the I saw them talking about like how one of the spaceships or the rockets that's like stranded in space or something, how it was gonna collide with the moon this week, and I was like, you guys are silly. You guys are silly. Like you already have like the moon landing that people believe in, but that cardboard and construction paper thing did not land on the moon. Like I am so sorry, but stop it. And then they have like a simulator thing that they're getting ready to do, where it simulates you in space for a year. I'm like, so they're going back to the same studio that they did the moon landing in. Like, okay, but and how much are they gonna charge for that? I mean, and that yes, like all the stupid things that they do, and yes, there's some gullible people out there that believe everything that they say, but like it's there's links there. I don't want to go into them and read them because that would take entirely too long. But another one that I saw, I sent it to Denisha this week, and I was like, look at the stupidity because they're trying to create it where you can pay to have sunlight when you want it. So they're gonna try to put like mirrors in space, and then it's like yes, and then it's like the flip of a switch basically where you can pay for additional sunlight and at whatever time you want, and it's like $5,000 an hour or something like that. And
So let me get this straight. They're trying to stop the sun. They're trying to block the sun so that we can reduce global warming. But now they're talking about charging people extra for sunlight. I don't understand what the real goal is here. Like, you gotta kind of all over the place.
yes, but you have to think like if they're charging for the sun, then is it actually going to be the sun or is it going to be like artificial? So
Exactly.
back in the day, we had, and so the link that I have to put up, it's called. You can go to reflectorbital.com, and it's like they're toting it as like the sunlight company. So they're gonna make clean, abundant energy available on demand.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yes, and it's just like okay, so that doesn't make any sense. But you can order it at all, and then you can turn it off when you're done. So it's just like you know what, guys, please
You're
stop.
doing too much.
Please stop. Let's just piss off God some more. I mean, and that's it. And that's the thing. Like you're trying to do all these things, and in Psalm it says like people are trying to disprove God and trying to change His ways, and it's like you're literally doing everything you can to remove God and be your own God. And there's people that are like right behind it, and it's like okay, well you're gonna be sadly mistaken when Jesus and all His army comes and it's judgment time because it's gonna be like okay, so you saw all my creation, you saw everything. You see the order of it. You see everything, but yet you still went out of your way to create something that wasn't natural just for your own convenience and your own power and ego, stroking your own ego. Yep. So, yeah, I know we went off on like a little tangent. There, there's, there's a lot that goes into a lot. Like these chapters, if I really went into like everything, it would take like one chapter a week, and it would take forever because Enoch is huge. But I mean, these are just kind of the things to show, that people really are just trying to do everything to be their own gods, and ch- change the natural order of what God has created. So, moving on to chapter 5. Observe how the green trees are covered with leaves, and they bear fruit. Pay attention concerning all things, and know in what manner he fashioned them. All of them belong to him who lives forever. His work proceeds and progresses from year to year, and all his work prospers and obeys him. It does not change, but everything functions in the way in which God has ordered it. And look at the seas, they do not part, they fulfill all their duties. But as for you, you have not been long-suffering, and you have not done the commandments of the Lord. For you have transgressed and spoken slanderously, grave and harsh words with your impure mouths against his greatness. O you hard-hearted, may you not find peace. Therefore, you shall curse your days, and the years of your life shall perish and multiply in eternal execration, and there will not be any mercy unto you. In those days you shall make your names an eternal execration unto all the righteous, and the sinner shall curse you continually, you together with the sinners. But to the elect there shall be light, joy, and peace, and they shall inherit the earth. To you, wicked ones, on the contrary, there will be a curse. And then wisdom shall be given to the elect. They shall all live and not return again to sin, either by being wicked or through pride. But those who have wisdom shall be humble and not return again to sin. They shall not be judged all the days of their lives, nor die through plague or wrath, but they shall complete the designated number of the days of their life, and peace shall increase their lives, and the years of their happiness shall be multiplied forever in gladness and peace all the days of their life. So Enoch started with creation, and then he just flipped the script and started coming at the people. So he's saying to look at everything in creation, how it's created, what purpose they serve, and this is from the tiny to the grand. Pay attention to everything. And we talk about it all the time, but God pays attention to the details. He's in the finest of details. Nothing is overlooked, nothing is out of place. But and God owns everything. So some verses to look at, Psalm 19:1, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky above proclaims his handiwork. Job 12:7-10, but ask the beasts, and they will teach you, the birds of the heavens, and they will tell you, or the bushes of the earth, and they will teach you. The fish of the sea will declare to you. Who among all these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? In his hand is the life of every living thing, and the breath of all mankind. Psalm 24:1-2. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and those who dwell therein. For he has founded it upon the seas and established it upon the rivers. So God's work will never fail. God's order will never fail. God himself will never fail. Enoch takes the time to mention the different parts of God's creation, and then he changes it and focuses back on the stubbornness of the people, which God also created. God created the very mouths we use to speak nasty things. God created the eyes we use to look at things that don't please God. We use our ears to listen to things that go against God and bring him no pleasure. Enoch calls the readers hard-hearted. And to be hard-hearted is to be resistant to God's will, to be non-responsive to the commands of God. And a lot of times this does come with pride, selfishness, a refusal to repent. And just like when we saw in Exodus, when we were talking about Pharaoh, God called him hard-hearted. But God also said he was going to make Pharaoh hard-hearted for his own purpose. The Israelites are called hard-hearted as well, as they were out wandering in the wilderness because they kept turning away from God. Like their 11-day journey turned into a 40-year journey because of their hard-heartedness, because they just couldn't stay away from wanting what all of the other nations had and going against God. So Enoch continues saying the people curse themselves by these things. Free will is going to do it every single time. He goes then on to the elect, so the chosen, those who are in God. They'll have light, peace, joy. They'll inherit the earth. They'll be blessed while the wicked are getting cursed. The elect will not be judged in the same manner. They will live to see the designated number of days pre-planned for them, and they will not experience wrath and plague. So while we're in a world full of wrath, full of plague, and we see God's judgments coming down over and over, God protects us in those things so that we're not overcome by all of the things that the unrighteous go through. Like obviously we're still gonna have troubles, trials, we're still gonna get sick, things like that, but God's hand is still covering us while the others are being heavily punished and still decide that they're not going to repent. Anything to add on that chapter?
Nope, not for me.
No. Okie dokie. Now we get into the fallen angels or the watchers. So remember back in Genesis 6 where the Nephilim, the men of renown, the mighty warriors, where they're mentioned. You can go back and read what God has to say about that that time. So in Enoch 6, it says, in those days, when the children of men had multiplied, it happened that there were born unto them handsome and beautiful daughters. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw them and desired them. And they said to one another, come, let us choose wives for ourselves from among the daughters of man, and beget us children. And Semyaz, being their leader, said unto them, I fear that perhaps you will not consent that this deed should be done, and I alone will become responsible for this great sin. But they all responded to him, let us all swear an oath and bind everyone among us by a curse, not to abandon this suggestion, but to do the deed. Then they all swore together and bound one another by the curse. They were altogether 200, and they descended into Ardos, which is the summit of Hermon. They called them the Mount Armin, for they swore and bound one another by a curse. Their names are as follows: Semyaz, the leader of Erechab, Ramael, Tamael, I highlighted this in a weird color, Ramel, Danel, Ezekiel, Barachiel, Aso, Amaros, Fatarel, Ananel, Zachiel, Sasumas, El, Hestorel, Turel, Yamael, and Arziel, and their chiefs of tens and all the others with them. Get it, girl, get it, girl. Look, these names are brutal. Like, brutal. They are a struggle. Hey, why do we have to be so? Nowadays we have like Chad and like why? Like, why do we need to do all that?
That's funny.
That's funny. We were like, when we were trying to say them on Saturday too, we were like,
we're about to just wing it, and it's
yeah. It sounds better though.
just know they all have L at the end, okay? And L was like a term for God. So this is like God created the angels. God created all of them, but just as we have free will, the angels have free will as well. I mean, so they Enoch is giving additional insight into what happened back in Genesis 6 to bring about the flood and the destruction of the earth. Like before that, people were doing their thing, but when the angels came, it was just a whole different story. So while the people were multiplying on the earth, The Watchers, they desired what they had. Their role, their created role was obviously first and foremost to worship God, but to be messengers and servants of God. They were to carry out God's will. But free will, once again, here we learn about a group of angels who deviate from their purpose and they decide to rebel, showing that they were going to do what they wanted to do. Like they were tired of living under God's will because they saw the people, they saw how beautiful they were. And then a lot of people are like, oh, well, they didn't have like reproductive organs and these things. But you have to think these are supernatural beings that can go between dimensions. Like they weren't like us in flesh where we don't have powers and things like that. They could shapeshift. They could do what they were to do because they were created in heaven and for heaven. So the lust for what the humans had came into play. And anytime you're gonna do something, it all starts with a thought, right? So from you have a thought, it's planted. From there, you speak the words, and then usually the actions follow. So Semyaza, he set out the cheese, right? Like he put out the cheese and was just like, hey, we should do this. And he peer pressured and they were like, yeah, that sounds like a great plan. Like we should do that. And then he was just like, wait a minute. Like I'm scared that if I do this alone, I'm taking all the responsibility. Like I don't want to do this alone. You guys are talking about it, but like are we really gonna be about it or no? So of course, he mentions that it's a great sin. Like he knows what he's about to do is against God's will. But they decide to do it anyway. So at this point, they're making a pact with each other, saying like, okay, if we don't all do this and we don't all go down for this, then whoever backs out of it is gonna be cursed. Like everybody's in it together, like as a group. So they make this oath, and remember in Leviticus, you're not supposed to make no oaths to anything in heaven or anything on earth. Oaths are not to be done unless you're vowing a promise or dedication to God. Like that is it. But they made this pact and there was 200 of them. They had, you have your ringleaders and then they had their little followers, minions after them that were like, all right, yeah, let's do it. It's like one of those things where everybody puts their hand in the thing and like, okay, on three, go team. That's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And they descended onto Mount Hermon. Now, Mount Hermon is the highest mountain in ancient Israel today. So the mountain range itself is nearly 30 miles in length and 15 miles wide. It's located on the northeastern boundary of Israel on the border between Syria and Lebanon, west of Damascus. I did include a picture of the map of Israel just so that you can kind of see where it is. So it's up towards the top right corner before you get to Damascus. And so all of that, and we'll see as we go through the Bible, like the rest of the map here comes to play. But that was up there. And so they descended there, and then that's where they started their journey into corrupting the earth. There's a lot that we can talk about with that, but that goes into Genesis 6 where it just talks about, them coming in into the women. This just gives a little bit more information on how they got here. Does anybody have anything to add?
Mm-mm.
Their names really do sound like crazy meds. Just saying. Like, did you take your blah 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 today?
It really does. It does.
Sound crazy. Half of them are crazy pills and the other ones are for STDs. Like, it's all bad. Just saying.
Literally, like their names are crazy, and it does get crazy if you ever like. So I have like the book of like a dictionary of demons and different, different things.
Do
But
you really?
I do, yeah.
Like they
And
find the Hitler book?
it's not. It is not. That one is the Dictionary of Demons and the Dictionary of Angels. Those are in my room as study books. I mean,
Okay.
they'd probably be great conversation pieces, but like I no. But yeah, a lot of the medications and like names of things that they come up with, like they're all named after demons, after a lot of demons. And just the spelling may be a little bit different or something, but you have to think about it. Like, for example, chemotherapy, right? Like there's a demon called chemosh, and chemosh is a destroyer. And what
And
does
so is
chemo do? It
chemotherapy.
destroys. Yeah.
Everything good and bad. Yep.
Yeah, and it's crazy how so much of it, like if you're not really paying attention, like where did they get that name? Why did they name it that? Like if you look into the origins or the root words of some of the things that they name, it's really, really crazy how they would come up with these things.
It's like they're right there in your face with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything.
Not even trying to hide it anymore.
But that's the thing. People don't like to read. People don't like to do anything. And so we watched, was it last month that we watched the Fahrenheit 451 movie?
Yeah.
I never watched that. Did I watch that?
It's so good. It's so good. But I saw them talking about this week that they've started to buy books and scan them in digitally and destroy the original books. And some of the information, once they scan it in, like the AI will change it.
That's crazy.
I was like, wait a minute, this is sounding really, really close to the movie that we watched. Like in the movie, you couldn't own a book, you couldn't have a book, whether it was digital or physical. But it's like everything for them to be able to change information as they're scanning it in, and then you have no way to go back and um there's no way to go back and verify because the original copy is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know that that's been happening throughout history. They did it with the Bible. It's been done with the Bible. Think
Yeah,
about that for a second. Look at all the variations of the Bible that there are in all the different languages and how things get lost in translation. And um, that's where all the confusion, I don't know about maybe not confusion, but that's where all the being double-minded about things comes into play throughout the different religions because everybody's for the most part on the same page until it comes to Jesus. And
right.
then everything changed. Everything changes. Like um, for us, we're like, we don't care about Muhammad, like whatever. And they're like, well, Jesus was just a prophet. And then the Jews are like, uh, well, some of us believe he was, and some of us don't. Like it's so crazy to me how, um, and not only that, but chapters of the Bible that were taken out by the churches. Like that's crazy. You could still get them, but like they were taken out of the actual Bible by the Catholic Church. Like that's diabolical.
I
Why
mean,
would
yeah,
you
they
do
hold
that?
all of them in the Vatican, like in the vault.
Yep. Why would you do that? Why would you take away God's word from His people? Why would you do that unless it's something in there that you don't want people to know? Yes, exactly. So it's just crazy. So AI is not the first thing that's done that. Like it's been happening.
Yeah.
Millions over
That's
time.
a whole rabbit hole that I've already been down.
I know.
Don't
For
even get
12
me
years
started
in
on
that
that. Don't get
rabbit
me
hole.
started on that. Yeah, don't get me started on the patriarchy, because
Yes. Girl, 12 years I got stuck in that rabbit hole, and I was like, I've got to get out of this. It's never gonna end.
But that's the thing, it doesn't, because it's like one thing will lead you to another thing, and then now you're out here looking crazy because you're like, hey, did you know this? Or hey, I saw this and I was researching this, and it's just like, okay, like after a little bit, people are like, yeah, so I don't really think I should talk to you.
Because no, like when Emma used to tell me stuff, I used to be like, Emma's like out there, like with her motives. Like I used to think that, and
But she brings the receipts.
then I started reading. I was like, oh my gosh, she's not out there. It's real.
Oh yeah,
I went through the same thing.
when Sarita found out, she was texting me and it was like stuff was in like all caps and like it was one text after another, and then she called me and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I told you, like I'm not crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of people don't want to look for the truth. Like if you're looking for the truth, like, I think it's in Jeremiah where God says, like, I will show you the hidden things. Like, if you seek me, I will show you the hidden things. Like, I will show you the mysteries. And it's like, okay, like, and that has to be an honest prayer. Like, God, I want to know the truth. Like, I don't want it watered down. I don't want to know the half truth. Like, I don't care how crazy it makes me sound. Like, give me everything. And and I had to unlearn a lot about religion to relearn the truth, and that's hard. Like deconstructing it's terrible and it's frustrating and it's upsetting because it's like, wait a minute, my entire life I've gone to church and I literally have been lied to because the whole truth isn't spoken. Like you're not. Like if I were to tell people at my church that I read the Book of Enoch, they would probably look at me crazy and probably try to get rid of me. And it's like, and I get it. So a lot of pastors learn that in seminary. They learn these things in seminary, and they still don't talk about them.
Yeah, I was when I was talking to my dad about me reading the book of Enoch, he was like, oh, that's some people believe blah blah blah, and then my stepmom was like, oh my gosh, like I've had this book here for years to read, and it's just like like it's crazy, like people like not pass judgment, but they're so set in their ways and their religious beliefs that they don't believe that these books are real, or oh, it's not canon because of this, that, blah blah blah. Like who determined what was canon? Like men sat in a room picking the books that were in the Bible based on the narrative they wanted to create. They wanted their people to follow a certain set of rules. So that's what was considered canon. That's why these books were removed. That's why. It's not because of it's too far out there. They didn't consider it canon because of A, B, C, D. No, it's because they didn't fit their narrative.
Exactly. Right. And a lot of it too is like the spirit realm, right? Like people, like a lot of churches and stuff, they don't teach you about spiritual warfare. They don't teach you about the spirit realm at all. It's just like, okay, you believe in Jesus and you're good. It's like, okay, no. How about the demons that you're about to fight because you chose a side? How about the spirits that are going to come and mess with you because you chose a side? Like they don't teach you how to fight in the spirit. They don't teach you how to
They don't
pray.
teach you about your armor. They don't teach you what your armor is and how to use it, your breastplate. They don't know. They don't teach that because let me tell you something. I was very young the first time I realized, because I was raised Catholic, and I was like, it did not take me long in life to figure out that that was really not right. And I said, why do I have to sit in a box and tell this man what I've done? God already knows. Shouldn't I be talking to him? And she says, that's not how it works. And I'm like, but actually it is, because God didn't say talk to this man. He said talk to me, come to me. He didn't say come to somebody else through me. Like, no, that's why Jesus came, so that I could go to him, so that my sins would be forgiven. So why do I have to sit on a box and have this man tell me that 10 Hail Marys is going to make it all better? Because one, we're not supposed to be praising Mary, only God. So wait. Hold on. They don't praise Mary. What did he say? They don't worship Mary. They honor her. They honor her. Yes. That is what they say, but that is not what they do. I promise you. And some, they're so twisted.
And let me say, some genuinely believe in Jesus, and some genuinely search for the truth. Some do. Like there's not every Catholic, but a vast majority of them, yes, they will honor the Pope as God Himself because he claims that he's the mouthpiece of God. He's advocating for abortion, advocating for same-sex marriage, advocating for all the things that go against God. And a lot of Catholics are um, discouraged from reading the Bible for themselves because the priest, as the mouthpiece, is the one that interprets the Bible and relays the information. And so a lot of people don't even know what the actual Bible says because they're told not to read it.
Right. So let me tell you, I went to a Catholic church. I don't know. I remember when I stopped going, but my home for all of my childhood. And I remember I didn't mind going to church because it was only a half an hour. You stood up, you sat down, you kneeled, you stood up, you sat down, you knelt for a half an hour. Never once picking up a Bible. Never once. It's all organized. It's the same prayer. It's a fraction of a one of the it's nothing. It's literally like three sentences out of the Bible, and the rest of it is just worshiping Mary and praising Mary. And I'm like, for what? What did she
And all the
do?
things. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like,
her.
with
Jesus said, "Woman, go away."
yes, like I'm not wondering. That's what I don't. I know we're off topic and we're gonna get back to the chapter. But
Sorry.
no, because it's like it's the truth in what it is. Because yes, Mary is to be honored as the womb that carried Jesus, right?
Thank you. This is how it goes. Thank you, Mary. That's it.
But
That's it.
yes, but even Jesus, like when he was teaching in the house and everybody was around him, somebody came and was like, "Hey Jesus, your mother and your brothers are outside." And he was like, "Who's my mother? Who's my brothers? Those that do the will of my Father. That's my mother. Those are my brothers." He's like, and then they lost him. They lost him when he was a kid, and they went 3 days walking back home. And then they were like, where's Jesus? They had to go back to Jerusalem to find him. He was in the temple. And they were like, why would you do this to us? And he's like, no, I'm here on my father's business. Like, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. Lady, you already knew, lady. You already knew who I was here for, and it wasn't for you. You were just a vessel for 9 months. Thank you for doing your job. Thank you for making sure I lived. But I'm cool. I don't really actually need you anymore. I got this.
He still honored her as his mother, but like Jesus was doing his thing, what he was supposed to do, and
He was on a mission.
And that's the thing. We just we have to get back to a point where we want the truth, even if it sounds far fetched, and even if it's hard because it's not what we grew up with, and even if it's whatever it may be. It's like no, we have to get to a point where we're letting go of the religion and the traditions of men, and we're focusing on what God says and what we're supposed to be doing, and keeping our nose in the books to learn so that we're not out here making a mess.
Yes. But yes, girl, that rabbit hole can go on and on and on for years. It's very dangerous, that rabbit hole. It can get you invested in life.
Yeah, when she called me, I was so excited. And I was like, yes, you made it. I was like, now we can be crazy together.
And exciting. And it's exciting when you find someone who has that same hunger for it as you, right? Because then you have something that you can talk about and something, and it doesn't matter who you are, what walk of life you've been down, what you're doing, what you've been done, whatever. You can fall into that relationship just talking about God, just teaching each other, learning from each other. It doesn't matter if who you are or where you came, none of it matters because that's something that bonds you with someone, and that is the greatest feeling ever, ever.
It is.
Listen, I grew up with Amber. We grew up together, and I did not know how my sister was, and she did not know how I was until just some random late night conversation, and then bam. And they just took off from there. And it was exciting. And we geek out over God all the time. And there's nothing better to geek out over.
Yeah, no, I love it.
It's exciting.
It is. Amber definitely helped me on my journey and helped me find my faith and introduced me to so much the Bible, and I'm such a better person because of it. And I'm so grateful for her. Yes.
She's amazing. She is truly, truly amazing.
Well, she's my person. Yes. All of and you're my person. Like we get to geek out, and it's it's nice too. Like we get excited about books and about yes, and everybody here has seen they've seen the show and tell of books because I get super excited, and when I get a new book, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna dive into this and look for like the keywords and things. Like I have notes in my books, and yes, it's a lot. It's a lot, and I want that's my goal is not not to be looked at as like, oh yeah, I'm this great person, because I'm not like if Jesus wasn't in my life, I would not be even half the person that I am. But I'm thankful that he led me to the things so that I can share them and have other people get excited about the Bible and about studying and just looking at the world differently and getting into relationship with God. Like that's the purpose. Like God gets the glory at the end of the I feel like I definitely do. I feel like prayer, God has helped me get through so much. I feel like I used to be a mess and like anxiety all the time, like depressed, and now I'm just like I can't worry about what I can't control. God's always gonna handle it. Like I can't stress about things, and there's times like I do get overwhelmed, and I do have to think about it, and I have to remember, but I'm getting better at it. And we all go through that.
Yeah, and in those moments, like that's why I'm grateful that me and my sister had started going through this stuff, because she gave me this book, right? It was like a journal, and she said, start writing in this journal. And so at first, I was just writing about like the stuff that we're studying and stuff that I found fascinating, or videos that we would watch, and so I would write down the name. So then, after I moved, and me and my sister didn't have that Bible study together, well, that everyday study anymore. It just turned into a journal, and it's like I'm writing to God, like He's gonna write me back or something. Yeah, whatever. It makes me feel better because it keeps me balanced. Because I do have I have some anxiety, and I got issues. I'm crazy, but that's me keeping myself in check. And if it still doesn't feel right, I will actually call my sister and be like, okay, so am I tripping, or is this not right?
She actually does.
So I do. I'm like, okay, because this doesn't feel right, and I don't know if I'm just being insensitive or if I'm just whatever, because I can be a little selfish a lot of the time. So I have to keep myself in check. So I have this diary of letters that I'm writing to God, and I will go back to those letters that I write to God like a month later, and I just see where I was in those letters, and I'm like, okay, so it wasn't obviously that bad because I'm already over it. So it's good for me to reflect. Yeah. Because when I started writing those things and those letters to God, it was when me and my husband were separated, and I was not a happy person at all. And then I was watching how it changed through the getting closer to God and building that relationship and surrendering, 100% surrendering. Like, I do not have control, nor do I want it. God, take it. It's not for me. This is all you. And how my life has changed so much since that surrender. And it's not something that you're going to remember every day, because there's still going to be things that come up that are going to eat at you, and they're going to bother you, and they're going to fire you up. So it's a choice. You have to choose to surrender almost every day, and then it becomes easier and easier, and you feel that frustration and the anxiety almost melting off of you. It feels like you're on the best diet ever. Like you're just shedding all that bondage and all those chains, and you're letting go. And it's so freeing. That's the most exciting thing ever, is that surrender and that clear head you have and just everything. You just feel better, but it's something that you have to do almost every day. Like, God, this is not for me. Take it. God, take
Right.
it. It's too much. I'm
And it's
stressing. It's
almost
for
as
you.
if it, yeah, it's almost as if it takes away like the chaos in your brain, you know?
It
Like
does.
I
It
always,
does.
yeah,
It
like I feel like
quiets the storm.
right, like I always feel like in the morning, I feel like I have so much more clarity in the morning. Things make sense.
Yes.
Like I work
Yeah.
at, I pray at night before I go to bed, and then I wake up and I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, okay, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm a huge advocate for journaling. So
Yes, you are.
she got me a
She
journal too.
absolutely is.
If you ever
Oh,
get
I
a
love
journal,
that.
like please understand, like it's so that you can get those thoughts onto paper. You can write out your prayers. Like
Yes.
if you're frustrated, like there's times where I just in mine because I feel so overwhelmed and I don't know what to say. Like
Yes.
there's pages that have like watermarks on them from crying, and it's like always
Yes.
I'm super big into whenever you're writing it, time and date it because you're always going to be
Oh,
able to go
yeah.
back to that and see like look what God has brought you through. Look at the blessings God has.
Yes.
Look at the people that you were
Yes.
harboring anger for. Like write it down. Like you know what? Like today I'm choosing to forgive this person, and
Yeah.
and when you feel that bitterness, you feel all of those things leaving,
Just a
and
million.
because you're getting it off of your chest and onto paper, where it's there now. Like you don't it doesn't have to occupy space in your brain anymore.
Nope.
You can write
You
that.
just
Like
surrendered it to the paper. Yep.
I have prayers to God. I have letters to people. Like, and think about
Yeah.
it. Like, just as we read the Bible, and it's a bunch of entries, right? Like, it's a bunch of stories, people's stories that they're writing that they've gone through. Just like in Enoch, he's writing it, and I said it's like a journal. You're writing your own book every time you write in your journal. Like you're writing your own book, the book of your life. You're
Yep.
writing that, and that's I'm huge into that. Like, if you don't have a journal, get a journal, get something that you can write in, get something that you can put your prayers in, you can put your like thank you God for this gift, thank you God for waking me up today, like whatever it may be, whatever's on your mind, just write it there, even if it's a verse that comes to your mind, like okay, write it down, because there's a reason for it, and there's times where
Yep.
written in my journal and then I'm praying about something and God's like, okay, go back and look at this. And I look at it and it's like, oh my goodness, like I had the answer here because I was writing what was on my heart and I've had it all
Yep.
along, and it's a good practice to help you. Like it really is. So I'm very big into
It's
giving
very
journals, to
refreshing.
giving notebooks, and it's just just it's just easy. It's nice. It's good.
I still have the pens and the journal and everything. Like, I have, girl, yes. I might need another Bible because this one is getting hard to read. Again, I just need
It,
glasses. I just
it
need
was
glasses.
It was funny because on what was it, Valentine's Day, but it was like our birthday gifts we exchanged like months later. Yeah. So these like we were going through the gifts and we pretty much gave each other the same things.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. You
It
know
was
who
so
you are shopping for.
yeah. No, it was good. Okay.
No,
Sorry guys for all the extra. It was good. It's a nice conversation. It was nice. It was nice.
yes, it is. It
And I
is.
enjoy the conversation. And yes, Bible study is
Always.
going to take us different places. This is interactive, and it's not like a sermon where I get to just be the only one that talks. Because I'm certainly not a teacher, a preacher, none of that. I'm just here with everybody.
An informant. An
Yes,
informant of the Lord.
yes. Okay, so we have one more chapter. If everybody's up for it, we got one more chapter. I was gonna try to do two, but I wanted to break it up because it's a lot. But we got one more chapter.
You know, because
And then we shall be all finito for the day. Okay,
cool.
so chapter 7. So now it's going into what the angels taught the people, the first part of it. And they took wives unto themselves, and everyone respectively chose one woman for himself. And they began to go unto them. They taught them magical medicine, incantations, the cutting of roots, and taught them about plants. And the women became pregnant and gave birth to great giants, whose heights were 300 cubits. These giants consumed the produce of all the people until the people detested feeding them. So the giants turned against the people in order to eat them. And they began to sin against birds, wild beasts, reptiles, and fish. And their flesh was devoured, the one by the other, and they drank blood. And then the earth brought an accusation against the oppressors. So these watchers came down, and then they began to teach the hidden things that humans were never supposed to know. Like they were teaching them all the secrets of heaven. So they taught magical medicine. So with this, that goes into chemistry, physics, biology, optics, astrology, numerology, alchemy, voodoo, religion, as well as magic. Those are subjects that are commingled with the medicine. And we can see things like there's shamans, there's witch doctors, curanderos, like all of these things that are coming into play now that we see a lot of like new age spirituality practices and things that claim like healing and we're expelling demons and we're working with the good spirits, like all these people that are out here like, oh, I'm a Christian witch, I'm a white magic witch or what like I don't do dark magic, I do light magic. Like no, that's all witchcraft. That's all things that were taught that nobody was ever supposed to get into. So, healing crystals, chakras, sage, amulets, charms, all of these things, they intertwined and turned it into medicine or ways of healing, but it all goes against God because it's not tapping into this spirit realm illegally to call on these deities, call on these things, and you're opening yourself up to demons essentially because you're not going through God to get your healing. You're going to other people that are summoning these other things. And so I was throughout this little section here, I did link some links, but some of the information as far as what these practices were, I did not because they were actual pages from witches and like witchcraft, hoodoo, all of that stuff. So I didn't think it was appropriate to put it for people to access, right? Like I don't. We're not about to open not one door. So I do not recommend going to search for information because you'll find the information, but you're going to be opening up doors and portals that you're not trying to open. So there are a couple links that are just general information. One of them it goes into the magic and medicine and how it's relevant today. So I had put in the book tab. There's a book called "He Came to Set the Captives Free," and I highly recommend the book. It's very heavy as far as what it is, but it's a real life story. This He came to set the captives free, and it's about this lady. She worked at a hospital, and she was a Christian. She would pray and things, but the amount of witchcraft and witches that are actually in the hospitals, in the doctors, it's crazy. Like the things that they do with the organs, the things they do with the blood, the things that they do in there to prey on people and to use the people for their own will. It's very crazy. It's very intense. She goes into talking about like werewolves and spirits and things that she encountered, like being thrown around in her house and all of these things. And it's her story, her experience as working in a hospital. Um, but just like with like a lot of the symbols, they have the little stick with the snakes wrapped around it. All of that is tied into a lot of it is tied into witchcraft, like things that you really have to just be careful with. But there is a link about how it's relevant today and how ancient practices were intertwined into modern medicine today. And then there's a few links on that are okay. Um, Incantations. So that is a use of spells or verbal charms, spoken or sung as a part of a ritual of magic, written or recited formula of words designed to produce a particular effect. So, all of these things where they're like, oh yeah, this is my mantra and I'm manifesting this and I'm doing this and angel numbers this and all of that, like all of these things that people do ritualistically, you're opening yourself up like that you should not be doing that. Like even it's frustrating because like in kids book fairs, they actually have books that they look normal, but in throughout the book they actually have real spells. Some of them come with like what they call like what tarot cards, how to make magic wands and how to recite spells and things like that. Like all of these things are being put in children's books and sold as children's books to get them to open that door. Um, so I know what is switched down. Did you see right? I'm gonna have a group project due tomorrow. Oh, and I just left them with all of my work. They don't know that I'm leaving because I can't call actively. Okay, so that's a bummer. Um, but yeah, like if you were to look, yeah, but like if you look at like the movies, the shows, the things like that, you'll see all of that like put in there where they say like abracadabra and different things like that. Like a lot of those are incantations and real spells, real incantations that you can recite and there will be something that happens. So there's a link there that you can look at for reference and more information. Um, the cutting of roots. Typically, in gardening, in the honest side of things, those are like propagating plants. Like you take a shoot from a tomato plant and you can make another plant. Like you can, create more plants from the one plant. But in the context of magic and hidden knowledge, this speaks of using plants in rituals and spirituality practices. So, root work involves the use of natural elements like herbs, roots, minerals, and animal parts to influence various aspects of life, such as love, health, protection, and prosperity. This can be used to make oils, powders, but today it's not just plant based. So, when they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna burn sage to cleanse my house, or I'm gonna use this Murdoch root or whatever it may be. Like you have to be very careful because all of that can open doors as well. Um, and like I said, a lot of the articles, searches I did, they included information that I'd rather not put out there. Um, but I did find one article and I just snipped a portion of it. But it says, like other magical traditions, it is not bound to any particular faith. Many, but not all, root workers are Protestant Christians. Go figure. Others range from Catholic to secular. Root workers believe in their own inherent power and the natural powers of the herbs, roots, and other curios they use. Praying or petitioning a saint or deity is not necessary, but they may choose to do so to get their help with a spell. So a lot of it is, I like I said, I wasn't gonna put anything because that search literally took me to no informational pages. It was literally all pages on how to learn the art and how to practice it and how to get involved with hoodoo and how to join Wicca and I was like, you know what, there's like it is way too easy to get involved in that stuff. And that is a scary thing because you have people out here that are doing research or, not praying first, not, and they're opening doors and they're getting into it and they make it look very fun. They make it look very easy. But you got to think like magic comes with a cost every time, because it's not something you're supposed to be doing. And over in the Bible, God says, like, suffer not a witch to die. Like, you shall do no divination, no sorcery, no necromancy, no none of this. And there's a reason for it. And it's because it's illegal and against God's will for you to be doing. Like there's people that astral project, and we have a we have a lady at my work that does deliverance, and she like some of the things that she's told me that she has to go against or that God has shown her, it's absolutely wild. It's mind blowing at the things. Like at one point, she had to throw away all of her clothes because a witch cursed her clothes. Like they would literally burn her body.
What?
And yes, and she had to throw away all of her clothes. Like, and there was a time where she had to put like her brush, her toothpaste, like everything outside of her apartment. And yes, like these witches will do the most. And and then like so everybody knows. No, I'm not gonna go into that. But yeah, like some of the things that she says that she's had to go up against and pray off of people. Like she's prayed for me and has helped me um just in different things, and it's crazy. Like they because people can be normal, they can look normal, and you don't know what they're doing in their houses. Like astral projecting, people can astral project, and she's had people astral project, and she would pray to have their silver cord cut, and what that does is it cuts them off into the spirit realm so they can't return to their bodies.
Wow.
And it's crazy. It's wild. It's wild. All of that is wild. But yeah, I didn't want to put I didn't want to put a lot of information in the notes just because I don't know who in the future is going to have access to the YouTubes or who's going to have access to the notes, the Discord. So I would rather not open any doors. But um, so we have to be careful all the time on what it is that we're setting our eyes on, what we're listening to, even in music, movies, TV, like all of that stuff. You have to be extremely careful because the spirit realm is very legalistic, so they don't need your permission to enter. All they need is for you to set your eyes on a movie that somebody has prayed over, or put your listen to a song that somebody has prayed over and put a spell on, and or eat something that someone gives you, like receive a gift that somebody in witchcraft has given you. Like you have to be really careful. Um, but understand the watchers, they were teaching the women about heavenly secrets that God never intended to be released. So what was taught brought corruption and sin to the earth. Did I skip? Oh no. Okay. While these things were being taught, the women were giving birth to children, but they carried both human and divine DNA. So they grew up to be giants. And Enoch gives a height of 300 cubits. So remember, we looked up before, the ancient cubit was 18 inches. So in converting, I used a converter just because me and numbers are not friends. So I did use like a conversion tool, and it said in using the ancient measure of 18 inches per cubit, their heights came up to around 450 feet tall.
Wow.
Yes, 300 cubits
That's not my
equals,
numbers, so
yes, they equal 450 feet tall. I mean, now we see giants, like there's a giant in, is it Kenya? Somewhere
yeah, what is he
over,
like 8 feet tall or something?
yes, and people praise him. Oh, they took him all over the place, like the women were throwing themselves at him. His name is Bradley the
Wow.
Giant, and he just popped up out of nowhere. And so, like, yeah, you got to think, like, back in the day, 450 feet, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But when Noah and his
Like the
family
state of the
came,
dinosaurs.
yeah, like literally, but everything was probably bigger back then. Like, everything was probably bigger before the flood.
Yeah.
Because it was all new and it was all, like, it was fine. It wasn't, anybody knows stuff. Yeah. I mean, people are getting taller now, yeah, for sure. But and every time somebody tall pops out, people are like, "Oh my gosh," they're so amazed by that person. So it's starting all over. But when Noah and his family and the animals entered the ark, the flood came. So Genesis 7:19 through 20 states, and the waters prevailed so mightily on the earth that all the high mountains under the whole heavens were covered. The waters prevailed above the mountains, covering them 15 cubits deep. So I included a picture of, because I wanted to know if the mountains were all covered, the highest mountain was covered, what exactly does that look like? Because I was in disbelief about being 450 feet tall. Like, there's absolutely no way. But when I was looking up the mountains, the highest mountain is Mount Everest, coming in at 29,032 feet above sea level. But if you search for the tallest mountain, you'll get Mauna Kea, which is coming in at 33,476 feet, and with only 13,803 feet being above the sea levels. So, if the waters of a flood rose above the highest mountaintop, it is possible the giants were as tall as 450 feet.
And think about this too. And think about this too, is that's what they are now, but what were they before the flood?
Right, right,
I'm sure that's changed.
right. Because the whole, like the whole geographic
The whole
scope.
planet changed. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Bible does state that there were giants on the earth before and after the flood. So, were they doing this? Were they mating with the women before and after, or did some of the giants just not die? Like, there's a lot of questions that I have there that I haven't gotten the answers to. So, but I'm sure they'll come. Uh, so the giants consumed the produce of the land, so they were eating up all the food. Like, these people were fed up and began to hate them. Like, no doubt the people were hungry. Like, they're growing food that they don't even get to eat because the giants are over here just taking up all the food. And the giants had insatiable hunger, so they turned against the people and they began to eat the people. Like, they just, with them being that tall, like, a human was just like a little snack for them. They were just like, all right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go with that one over there, and that one looks like they got a little extra meat, so I'm gonna have a late night snack. Like, and they were just out there eating people.
Yeah, it brings a whole new meaning to look you look like a whole snack.
Right, like literally. But like, and then Enoch mentions that they sinned against the birds, the wild beasts, the reptiles, and the fish, but directly say that their flesh was devoured by another and they drank blood. So you got cannibals out here. You got people eating blood, which God specifically prohibited. And so they're doing the things, and there's a lot of debate between if at this point was when the giants were also introducing like gene splicing to create hybrid creatures, or if it was just that they were eating them or mating with the animals. Like, that's not clear. There's people that will go both ways on that. Like, hybrid creatures did come at some point, but we don't know if it was before the flood or after. But um none of it was pleasing to God, though. And the people were crying out to God, like, God, you have to do something. Like, something has to change. And of course, the devil's always going to mimic the things of God with a little twist. He's nothing but a copycat. He's a hater and a copycat. So he can't create something out of nothing like God can, because he's created himself. So he finds things that are already on earth and he creates his own, but it's always distorted. Like, it's never the same. And we just have two verses. Genesis 6:5 states, "The Lord saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually." Genesis 6:11 through 13 states, "Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and the earth was filled with violence. God saw the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And God said to Noah, I have determined to make an end of all flesh, for the earth is filled with violence through them. Behold, I will destroy them with the earth." So we end here, but all of that, like, all of this is going on where the angels are coming down. They've already violated God's order. And now they're teaching men more sin than was already around. And so God's like, you know what? I'm done with all of you. Like, I regret that I even made you. Noah, Go ahead and build that boat. I'm about to bring the water.
Yeah, wash it about, wash it out.
Yeah. So that's the first little bit. We made it through all 7 chapters. We ran a little bit late, so thanks everybody for staying. But hopefully it was interesting.